What makes for an excellent and long-lasting military-grade sniper rifle? That's the question posed by the remarkable service history of the Remington Model 700, the US military's primary marksman weapon in use since Vietnam. Developed in the wake of World War II and first produced in the mid-1960s, the Remington Model 700 has been adopted in 3 distinct forms by various militaries across the globe, remaining in active service with the United States to this day, with an extensive service history spanning over half a century and having been produced over 5 million times. Rugged, reliable, and incredibly versatile, with chamberings in dozens of varying cartridges, the Model 700 has become a staple of modern military operations in the hands of well-trained marksmen, along with being a popular choice for civilians of all stripes. Weighing in at just under 9 pounds and measuring 41.5 inches long, this famous long gun feeds its ammunition through 3 to 6 round internal magazines, or 5 to 10 round detachable box magazines depending on the variant. Effective at distances of 800 to 1200 meters, again depending on the variant, the Model 700 dispenses its ammunition at speeds of nearly 800 meters per second, with chamberings in dozens of rifle cartridge offerings. The story of the Remington Model 700 begins back in 1917, with the American entry into World War I. Due to production issues with the United States' standard issue rifle at the time, the M1903 Springfield, the United States government contracted a number of firearm manufacturers to produce a .30-06 version of the British Lee Enfield rifle for US Armed Forces known as the M1917 rifle, Remington being among those contracted. When the war ended just a year later, Remington found themselves with a large surplus of materials and large unused assembly lines, and opted to use the remaining materials to alter the M1917 design and sell it on the commercial market, resulting in the Model 30 entering production in 1920. The rifle found some success, but became largely overshadowed by the offering of its main competitor Winchester, when they released their iconic Model 70 in 1936. Though Remington almost immediately began work on a new rifle to counter their rival's new success. Unfortunately, with the outbreak of World War II, the new rifle would have to wait, but in the years following the largest conflict in human history, firearms designer Mike Walker at Remington began upgrading the Model 30, resulting in the 1947 Model 721, which saw some success, though it was limited. Not satisfied with the Model 721's limited success, Remington went back to the drawing board to design a new rifle that was less expensive to manufacture, yet just as modern, accurate, and reliable as the Winchester Model 70. After spending the next 15 years further developing the Model 721 design, producing the Model 722 and Model 725, Walker would create what is now known as the Model 700 in 1962. The weapon first sold with 2 variants, the ADL and BDL. The new rifle became an almost overnight sensation, with over 5 million being sold to this day, and this commercial success would be compounded with a military order in 1966. During the Vietnam War, the US Marine Corps decided it needed a new sniper rifle, their designated sniper at that time still being the time-tested M1903 Springfield, and after testing several modern bolt-action rifle offerings, the Marines settled on Remington's Model 700X, the target shooting variant of the original Model 700, and designated it the M40, the new addition to the Marine arsenal being chambered in the NATO standard 7.62 by 51mm cartridge. Shipped off to Vietnam soon thereafter in 1966, the M40, as with many of the new weapons American soldiers found themselves equipped with in Vietnam, gained a problematic reputation. Thankfully not as severe as the issues with the M16 or M60, the M40's primary weakness was its wooden frame, the harsh jungle conditions of Vietnam warping the stock over time, and sometime in the 1970s, US Marine Corps armorers introduced the M40A1, replacing the wooden stock with a fiberglass one, as well as replacing the original 3 to 9 times variable power scopes with 10 times fixed power scopes. While the Marines were utilizing the new rifle, the Army, until the 1980s, remained using a modified M14 battle rifle known as the M21 for their sniping purposes. Realizing that this configuration was no longer adequate for the direction modern warfare was heading in, the Army began searching for a replacement for their M21 rifle, awarding Remington a contract in 1987 to produce another military-grade version of their Model 700, this new variant being adopted by the Army as the M24 Sniper Weapon System, or SWS, in 1988, chambered again in the NATO standard 7.62 by 51mm cartridge. Whilst both being variants of the exact same design, the M40 and M24 rifles do have a distinct difference, and that is in the length of their respective actions. The M40 using the Model 700's short action, capable of firing cartridges no longer than 2.75 inches, whereas the M24 uses the Model 700's long action, designed for firing cartridges measuring up to 3.34 inches, as the Army initially intended to chamber the M24 in the 30-06 cartridge over the 7.62 round. The Army would continue fielding the M24 for the next 20 years, and in 2010 would commission the production of a new version of the Model 700's military variant, known as the M2010 Enhanced Sniper Rifle, to increase the M24's accuracy when using 300 Winchester Magnum cartridges. Fitted with a detachable box magazine as opposed to the internal magazines used with most M24 and M40 rifles, and with a new and highly configurable chassis, along with a slew of other improvements, the new weapon, adopted by the US Army in 2011, is equally as accurate as the M24 at distances 50% further. In terms of variants, the Model 700 has a plethora, and many more that I could do justice in this one video, all having various stock options, chamberings, and accessories available for purchase, though the main civilian variants of the Model 700 are the ADL, BDL, CDL, and SPS. The Model 700 has also been adopted by many law enforcement agencies, with Remington producing a law enforcement model known as the Model 700P, with many design features borrowed from the military variants, such as its heavier and thicker barrel for increased accuracy and reduced recoil. This model comes with a 26-inch barrel as standard, and has chamberings in .308 Winchester, .223 Remington, .243 Winchester, 7mm Remington Magnum, .300 Winchester Magnum, .300 Remington Ultra Magnum, and .338 Lapua Magnum. In terms of M40 variants, currently there are 4, the M40A1, which replaced the wooden stock with a fiberglass one, the M40A3, which added an improved barrel, stock, and scope, the M40A5, which changed the barrel to allow for the addition of a suppressor or a muzzle brake, along with replacing the 5-round internal magazine with a 10-round detachable box magazine, and the M40A7, which added a side-folding stock to the weapon, along with a full-length Picatinny rail to accommodate for different optics. In terms of M24 variants, there currently exist 2, the M24A2, featuring a detachable 5-round magazine, top and side-mounted Picatinny rails, barrel modifications designed to accommodate a suppressor, and an improved stock, and the M24A3, again with a detachable 5-round magazine, and chambered for the .338 Lapua cartridge. The M2010 Enhanced Sniper Rifle doesn't have any associated variants at this time, though the weapon is being produced for the civilian market. Over 60 years since it was first introduced, the Remington Model 700 has become one of the most successful bolt-action rifles ever produced, with over 5 million sold since 1962, and while Remington is not slowing down Model 700 production by any means, the military variants are facing an uncertain future. In the Marine Corps, the M40 is being phased out by the Mark 13 rifle, using Accuracy International's chassis system, a development of their iconic Arctic Warfare series of rifles, this replacement being announced in 2018. As for the Army, they have begun to phase out their M24 and M2010 rifles in favour of the Barrett MRAD beginning in 2021, with the Marines also considering Barrett's offering. Despite facing replacement, the Remington Model 700 has had an extensive service life, finding use with the US Armed Forces in every war they've fought since Vietnam, and gaining a reputation for accuracy and reliability that has led to continued successes for over half a century. Considered the most accurate out-of-the-box production rifle on the market, the Remington Model 700 is one of the most successful and recognizable bolt-action rifles of modern times, with Remington continuing to update and produce new variants of the weapon to this day. Civilian, police, or military, the Remington Model 700 is configurable for any situation, and stands as a testament to Remington's capability to produce accurate and reliable rifles, being just one weapon in a long history of incredible firearms produced by one of the world's most iconic manufacturers. Thank you so very much for watching these videos. Please like and subscribe and comment below what you'd like to see me cover next.